Hi everyone, it's Erin. It's Thursday, June 28th, 2018. I have a letter here written from David Hinkson, and if you would like to read it for yourself, you can go to Year of Jubilee, and that's 1E like the King James Bible spells it, .com. It says, Stacy was a friend of Michael's, and she lives in Texas. I was told that she had cancer just about everywhere throughout her whole body. So I asked Guy to send her some copper water, and she started drinking it. When I talked to her a few days ago, she was back at work, and she told me that she had thought she was in full remission. She has been taking the copper product for about 30 days, and it would seem that she went from terminally ill to full recovery. She's going to get a checkup in the next few days and verify that all of her cancer is now gone. Here below is some points that I would like to make about my experience with making a non-toxic copper supplement. In the past, I never had any idea that copper killed viruses or even cancers. I can remember visiting the late Doug Noland out in the Nevada desert, and he had rolled up a copper penny in a piece of bread and threw it into the air so that his dog, Terrier, would jump up and swallow or gulp it down. When I asked him why he was feeding his dog pennies, he said, "Boy, it will chase the worms out of the dog's ass." I also can remember that when I was 10 years old, we used to put Landry Bluing, which is copper nitrate, into the water trough for our horse to remove parasites and worms. I was told at the time that this would deworm the horse. I know that it is not good for any mammal to consume copper nitrate, or, for that matter, any mineral that is a nitrogen-based compound. See Aaron Brockowich's movie. But in this instance, let it be known that when a horse or cow consumes grass, they use the first stomach to remove the nitrates from the over-nitrated grass. Even a ripe banana has too much nitrates in it, and this is why nature lets the fruit ripen in order to replace the nitrates with the oxides. I even heard about feeding cigarettes to a horse to remove worms, and I also know that tobacco can also be used for this purpose. But I don't think that consuming tobacco or even a whole penny would treat anything except for the actual digestive tract. Even when I had cancer covering my skin in many places in 1988, it never occurred to me to use copper to remove and or kill the actual tumors, as I used a new concept that I discovered that used iodine sulfate. I therefore now believe that there are two reasons why the copper hydroxide in the form of being non-toxic can now kill all cancer tumors. One, it has been shown that most cancers are caused by having a nitrogen-breathing anaerobic virus actually invade an oxygen-breathing cell. And in this process, the virus then converts the cell into directly breathing nitrogen gas instead of oxygen gas. So it became my opinion that all cancers are in fact just one of your cells that has been converted or mutated into now breathing nitrogen. So the best way to kill a cancer cell, in my opinion, is to recognize that it is just another type of anaerobic life form, and then consume something that is toxic to this type of life form, while at the same time non-toxic to aerobic life forms, oxygen breathing. It would seem that copper, for some unknown reason, actually kills any and all nitrogen-breathing pathogens. Silver also does this. I really do not know why, but this seems to be the case. Number 2. Copper, zinc, calcium, and magnesium will cross the blood-brain barrier and even the cancer barrier, as the copper is now known to be exempted by the cancer, as different kinds of cancers have been shown to actually use a small amount of copper to create new blood vessels to feed the cancer. This means that the cancer actually invites the copper into its individual cells. But now, it would seem that if the amount of the copper blood serum levels actually exceed about 20 parts per million, it will actually kill the cancer cells and even the attached viruses. I really don't know why copper would kill nitrogen-breathing pathogens and cancers, but I did notice that all of these life forms do in fact breathe only nitrogen to support life. I also do not know why copper in any form seems to really kill all kinds of insects. Insects have been shown to flee away from anything that has any trace of copper on it. I can remember going to a picnic along the Dnieper River in the Ukraine with some of the doctors that I was working with at the time, and all of them had sprayed themselves with mosquito repellent, but not me. I realized that I had been consuming copper in my diet as a supplement, and I knew that copper would kill all parasites, will cross the blood-brain barrier, the spinal fluid barriers, and would in fact go into any and all bodily fluids that have any moisture in them. Therefore, I figured that I would take off my shirt and stand there and see if any mosquitoes would actually bother me. I stood very still and held my arms out for about 20 minutes amidst millions of these flying insects. And I finally got just one mosquito to actually land on my arm, and I waited to see what it was going to do, and it just left and flew away. I found this to be a very interesting test. Not only does it seem to kill all bugs like mosquitoes, but it also repels them, even if it's just in the body sweat. Later, I can remember my cousin Derek so-and-so telling me that he had a cough for over 3 months, as he had some kind of lung infection, and I asked him at that time to drink an 8-ounce glass of copper water at 300 parts per million. And at that time he asked, shouldn't I be inhaling the copper vapor with a nebulizer? I told him that we had actually used copper and silver in a nebulizer in the past, and it did in fact remove a cough in about 20 minutes. But we were now going to test a new theory about the copper being in the sweat, mucus, and even phlegm that is secreted into the lung cavity. Note here that phlegm is secreted into the lungs to neutralize the acidic crystalline neurotoxins that are attacking the lung lining. Anyway, he drank the amount of copper water on an empty stomach. Even after I had recommended he dilute it with milk, and in 2 hours he had quit coughing. Note that I had told him to mix the copper in a drink like milk before consuming to avoid the copper product making him feel a little bit queasy or nauseous. He then told me that he had in fact become a little bit nauseous and then consumed some milk, and this condition of unease stopped immediately. I can remember buying a product in the past from the plumbing store that was a copper-based compound. This product was sold to be flushed down the toilet for the purpose of killing any and all tree roots that were in contact or were attacking a buried sewer line. So I found it very interesting that copper was being used to even kill anaerobic nitrogen-breathing tree roots. I think that copper has some very strange and interesting properties. Copper is listed on the RDA as needed by the human body. It is known to help to strengthen the walls of veins and vessels, and in fact, they say that an aneurysm is caused by a lack of copper in the diet. So, some copper is really needed in the diet. Now, I'm also told that 2 diseases like MS and MD are both caused by improper protein digestion, and copper has been shown to actually fix the liver's ability to digest proteins. We have not finished the tests as of this time on these 2 diseases, but hope to get this done very soon. We had an African American woman who lost her sickle cell after consuming the copper product that I was making at Wateraz. So it would seem that there might be many other conditions that could be helped by consuming copper water as a type of medical treatment. During the Civil War, they had a warship that they called Old Ironside, and this ship was in fact a wooden ship that was clad, or the bottom was completely covered, with copper plates. It was known for all these many years that copper being attached to the bottom of a ship will actually keep all unwanted marine life from attaching to the hulls of the ships. For example, the barnacles that can attach will slow down the speed of the ship. So even now, paint that is used to treat the bottom of boats and ships is endowed with copper, and for this very reason. So, it has become plain to me that copper seems to have the ability to do more things than any other metal that is put into a health food supplement. If a copper product is manufactured in such a way as to be totally non-toxic, you can take larger amounts of it with no negative side effects. Also, unlike the silver, copper does not stain, and if you consume extra amounts of it, your body will be able to remove it within a few days to bring your copper serum levels back to normal. Copper is very exciting as a health food supplement because of the fact that it penetrates all through the entire body system, and this means if it can actually kill cancer cells, it can be the best treatment for cancers that are impossible to reach. Copper could truly be the lost medical concept that is the real cure for the common cold and many other diseases, as it has now been shown to kill all viruses and nitrogen-breathing bacteria. The one thing that you have to remember when testing the effects of consuming the copper supplement is that even if the copper has killed every virus in about 2 hours throughout your entire body system, a blood test will still show that they are in your blood. It takes a few days for the body to digest these pathogens and remove their dead carcasses. Maybe someone should apply for the $25,000 award that was offered to anyone who can replace the need for penicillin. This award was offered in the article in the WSJ under the concept of crowd innovating. More later, David Hinkson. Well, well, well. If anybody wants to win the $25,000 award, maybe they can try the copper water that David's suggesting.